So about a year ago, I went on a hunt for some mines in the Trussville area, more Birmingham, Huffman, Irondale, but the Edwards Lake Road area that touches the Trussville city limits was a heavily mined area in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The mines that I went to about a year ago were the Smith and Eastman mines, and recently I went back to this area, the Tom Bradford Park area, with Todd Russell, who knows a lot about these mines. Last year we went on an excursion. I learned a lot about the mining process and history. We recorded an episode of the tailgate talking about it. I'll put that link to that video in the description below. So we went back, and this mine search was much less obvious. When we went to Smith and Eastman mines, I mean, we went inside. I mean, I was near face to face with a bat. We went inside a mine. This one was more finding air shafts and kind of mapping out where these mines were. They're heavily stripped at this point, so it's a lot about kind of looking at topographical maps and, you know, noticing what was a shoulder of a mine, and, you know, kind of walking up the seam of the mine and ravines, and kind of not seeing the land for what it is now, but what it was then and how it got to look the way it looks now, if that makes sense. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about these Alfretta Mines. It's a group of 5 mines, and then I'm going to go right into a little bit of footage that I got. This hike was a lot more intense than the Smith and Eastman mine. There were a lot of hills, a lot of big ones, a lot of what Todd called heartbreak hills, and if you don't come with some good soles on your shoes or a really good pair of boots, you might struggle. So the Alfretta group of mines, this group of lands were acquired by Pioneer Mining and Manufacturing Company in 1880, when the bulk of the property was purchased from Sylvester Steel. Additional land was acquired from the Sims family in 1894. There are five different mining spots that make up the Alfretta Mines. Both the hard and the soft ores of the Irondale seam were mined at Alfretta. Highest annual output was in 1909, when 72,917 tons of hard ore and 60,515 tons of soft ore were mined. A group of mines at Alfretta may have opened as early as 1889 with drift mining and operated until 1921. In 1918, only 943 tons were mined. At the time the mine closed, the hard ore of the Irondale seam was worked with a recoverable thickness of 4 feet 2 inches. The ore was high in silica and low in lime. Let's see what else. During 1939, Smith & Smith, under contract to Republic Iron and Steel, stripped 22,000 tons of ore from the Alfretta property. Smith & Smith had a second contract for a 20-month period ending in November of 1941. Smith & Smith paid a royalty to Republic for ore removed. Republic had the option to use the Alfretta ore for use in the furnaces at Thomas or Gadsden. Additionally, Smith & Smith appear to have stripped the Irondale ore from the Alfretta area for the first time during this year. The Alfretta group of mines is located downslope from the Medical Center East Complex. Access road to the Medical Center, the sanitary sewer piping, and 2 natural gas pipelines have all impacted this area. Noticed that when we were out there. The strip mining that occurred during 1927 and from 1939 to 1941 eliminated much of the evidence that once existed at the mine sites. Very few surface features exist, and only the simplest stone piles remain that may indicate the foundation of a hoist. And just one last thing before we dive into some of this B-roll. If you've been to Bradford Park, you know, you go down a hill, there's some tennis courts, several playground spots, big field, picnic tables, that kind of thing. That area is where company housing was for this mine. It was centered between the Birmingham Mineral Railroad, which ran through this area. We found evidence of where the Mineral Railroad would have connected to these mine sites near Interstate 59. We covered in leaves, but we found asphalt, almost paving, in the area that the Mineral Railroad would have come through. Didn't locate any track or pieces of track, but Todd, he maybe briefly mentions it in this video. He had found recently about 2 feet of track from carts, so like what they would load the iron ore onto to get it to the train. So that kind of track. We were not able to find it when we went, but Todd's going to go back soon, and he's going to locate that. So in 1908, at what is now Tom Bradford Park, there were about 25 single-family homes, most of which were 16 feet by 32 feet. A few multi-family homes were also present, and there was a company office building and commissary. Additional storage space was in an old boxcar, and that's about it. So hopefully that gave you just a little bit of history and information about what was in this area. And now we're going to jump right into this video, and please forgive the huffing and puffing. I'm a little out of shape, but this was a heck of a hike and a lot of fun to go to a place and imagine what once was there. So without further ado, let's jump in.
We'll just have 1 or 2 drifts.
Makes it a real hunt for it, doesn't it?
Great old Trussville stories. And then, so this is the area down there that was mostly stripped out. And then this is just level 1. There's like a whole nother level very similar right here. Over there at the other place, this is going straight down.
Wow.
And by straight down, it's probably, the seam goes at about 23 degrees, so it's probably similar. You can even see the bottom of it.
So tell me what this is again.
That's an air shaft.
And that was used for
ventilating the mine.
And there's no way to see the bottom of that.
Well, it's filled with water at some point down there.
Yeah.
But let's see if I can throw a rock in there. Yeah, I heard water. Honestly, I was going to send it to a geologist and see what they think it is.
Have you ever found anything on these, like a tool or something that looked like it clearly belonged to somebody?
Yeah, well, I found a section of track yesterday, and it was the small gauge track that they would have used for the mining carts, not the big cranes.
Yeah.
And probably about 2 feet.
Drift, what is the purpose of a drift?
So a drift is what we went inside of at the old mine over there.
Right.
And when they come up the ravine, they go in every 50 feet in the side this way. So these the ravine and then the shoulder over there, it'll go all the way through the shoulder.
Okay.
Because the seam cuts through this way.
Yeah.
So it'll find a pocket and then just go along, and then the slope takes the seam in its direction towards the creek. Yeah, it looks like it's covered in concrete, which is kind of weird. Yeah, it's got to be the old Mineral Railroad bed.
What? Which part? The where?
This right here?
Right above us?
Yeah, because it's built up over this culvert.
So what was the purpose here? The culvert is for just like any culvert today?
Well, if they had built the rail bed without the culvert, this would all dam up and eventually push it and wash it away. So they just need to let a path for all the drain to go underneath the rails.
Okay, and so we just came out where the tipple most likely was. Connected here.
Train would have come here.
Train would have been up here, and that noise we hear, is that 59 or is that?
It is.
It's 59 on the other side.
So right here, the ore got to the train.
What do you think was right through here then
Weird,
to get to it?
It'd probably go to the low point, which is over here. And
Yeah.
see that ridge right there? It's just 20 or 30 feet. That may be part of it too. They could have curved it out, kept the elevation, like built a bridge from the top of that end right there all the way across to here, and then dumped it right on.